You don't control the market. You don't control the outcome. You don't control whether the next trade wins or loses, but you do control one thing. And if you get this wrong, nothing else you've learned about trading will save you from reckoning. Risk is the only thing you actually control in trading. Every trader says they understand this, but their behavior says otherwise. You can't control whether price respects your level, or whether news hits, whether volatility expands, or a perfect setup fails. But you can control how much of your account is exposed, where your exit is, whether stop loss or your take profit, when you stop for the day and when you stop for the week. Listen, most traders don't blow accounts because of bad strategies. They blow them because they size too big or enter trades like gamblers. We've all done it. You can have an 80% win rate and still lose money, and you can have a 40% win rate and make a fortune. We talked in video 5 about thinking in probabilities. But probability without position sizing is useless. For example, trader A wins 80% of the time, risks 1% to make 1%. That's solid. But trader B wins 80% of the time, but he risks 5% to make 1%. He feels confident, feels smart, but eventually one losing streak erases weeks of progress. One trade erases 5, or one day erases a week, or 1 month erases 5 months. The same statistics applies, and 1 year erases 5 years. So between the two traders, they have the same strategy, but the different risk behavior guarantees a different future. The market doesn't punish bad predictions. It punishes consistent oversized risks. Remember when we talked about randomness in the first video? If you size too big, every trade feels like a jackpot spin. Your heart rate rises, you stare at candles, you move stops, you hope, you wish, and you pray. But that's not a strategy. That's survival mode. When risk is too large, you cannot think clearly. You can't follow rules, and you can't accept losses. Oversizing destroys execution. And then you blame the strategy, or the markets, or the institution. But you gotta always remember this. No one forces you to press the buttons. It's only you. Let's simplify this. If you risk 10% per trade, 2 losses becomes minus 19%, and 3 losses becomes minus 27%, and 5 losses is nearly 41% of your entire account. If you don't believe me, try the calculations yourself. See if you take 10% of 1,000 and then another 10 and another 10 and another 10. Look how much you will have at the end after 5 trades. Now ask yourself this. Have you ever had 5 losing trades in a row or 5 losing days in a row? Of course you have. Everyone has. Even strong strategies have streaks. This is called risk of ruin. It's not emotional, it's math. The bigger you risk per trade, the fewer mistakes you're allowed to make. Professionals survive because they reduce the chance of mathematical death. They don't try to win big, they try to stay alive. Amateurs assume they will win, but professionals assume they will lose, sometimes repeatedly. And before they take the first trade, they ask, if I lose 10 trades in a row, what happens to my account? If the answer is panic, the size is too big. Risk is not about optimism. It's about survivability. This is borrowed from professional poker or hedge funds or even aviation. Airplanes are built assuming failure is possible. Traders should do the same. Let's connect this to something uncomfortable. You say you risk 1% per trade, but then do you move your stop? Do you add to a losing position? Do you revenge trade? Do you double size after a loss? Or do you just this once break your plan? That 1% becomes in reality 3% or 5% or then 12%. Now you risk losing your entire capital in 5 losing trades in a row. And when you're so emotionally invested, guess whether you're going to see the market clearly and behave rationally or not. One emotional decision can erase 20 disciplined trades. I have sure been there. And this is why following your strategy is not just about discipline. It's about protecting risk integrity. Every time you break a rule, you're not just making a bad trade, you're increasing your probability of ruin. I'm not saying any of this to make you feel bad. I'm showing you that as soon as you enter that irrational state, you're basically playing a losing game. And I know that deep in your heart and every bone of your body, you want to win. And I'm saying that there is a better way to play this game to win. You may not like it, because it's not glamorous or fancy or quick, but it is the way that stacks the odds in your favor. And if you are as stubborn as I am, you may want to find your own way, and I respect that. And I encourage you to do that. But I just want you to imagine how your trading journey will be if you continue to trade the way you're trading over the long term. Are you going to consistently win, or will you trade great for a couple of months and blow it all? Because you may end up trading great for a couple of years even and still blow it all. And that pain, if it happens, I hope you don't ever get to experience that. But if you felt that pain of losing 5 years of discipline, it may not let you trade ever again because the loss could be too painful to handle another time. So if you are really in this for the long term, if you see yourself as a trader till you get old, then the slow, steady, risk-managed approach is the way for you. You don't have to continue to go through all this pain in order to learn that lesson. All right, enough of the hypothetical. Here's what you actually can do today, not theory, just action, so that you start seeing some different results. Here are 4 things you can do in order to define risk. So the first one is to choose a fixed percentage per trade. So for most developing traders, 0.5% or 1% of your entire account per trade. So if you're trading with 1,000, your stop loss would be like $10. And the second thing is to set a maximum daily loss that allows you to stop before you start getting emotional. So for example, if you lose 2 or 3 trades in a row, or an X amount in dollars, or 2R or 3R. The third thing is to set a weekly or a monthly stop. If you hit a -6R or 5x your daily stop, then you cannot trade for the rest of the week and you continue to document, test, and review. Also validate the type of price action that makes you lose consistently. Is it trending price action, or is it consolidation? And the fourth and last thing is to never increase size after a win. You probably already know that it's a good thing not to increase size after a loss. Increase only after a statistically significant sample size. Not after a good day or a good week or a good month. Not after feeling confident or feeling good, but after data. Professional size based on stability and market conditions. Gamblers size based on emotion. If risking 1% feels boring, that's good. Boring means your nervous system is calm. Calm means you can execute. You can see the price action clearly, or at least clearer than when you're emotional. Execution and clarity builds consistency, and consistency builds data, and data builds confidence. This is the opposite of social media trading culture. You don't grow fast. You survive long enough to grow at all. Let me say this clearly. If you cannot stick to your risk parameters, you are not struggling with strategy. You are struggling with self-regulation. You can go and watch the video on why discipline is a terrible trading goal. It will definitely help out. And until that struggling with self-regulation improves, no system will save you. That's not an insult, that's reality. Trading is a risk management business disguised as prediction. Prediction is optional, but risk control is mandatory. Alright, if you've blown accounts before, if you've had weeks erased in one emotional day, you're not stupid, you're not bad at trading, you're not helpless. We've all been there. You are just underestimating risk, and most traders do. The shift happens when you stop asking how much can I make and start asking how much can I lose without damaging my future. Protect your downside. Let probabilities work. Small edges only compound if you survive long enough, and survival is a risk decision. You don't need a higher win rate. You don't need a secret strategy. You need controlled exposure, because risk is the only thing you actually control. Master that, and you give yourself a real chance. Everything else is noise. In the next video, we're going to talk about something equally dangerous: the difference between confidence and overconfidence. Because once you survive, that's when ego tries to take over.